Now, Tanzanian banks continue to grapple with escalating non-performing loans portfolios in the second quarter of 2021, despite the central bank warning against risks associated with a rise in NPLs. Now, Princeley Mafunga is a financial analyst at Bankable. He is speaking to us on this issue. Princely, NPLs, the increased NPLs, scary times for the economy of Tanzania, especially with the subsector of banks.
Well, it's the issue of the NPL is not a new issue. Certainly, if you've been following the average ratios, especially when they basically sort of reached the peak during the first half of last year. So they do not really raise any alarming bells. Because in terms of affecting the systemic conditions, because coming from the first half of last year to this year, they have actually been on a declining trend, because you're talking of from highs of around 13% to now around 10.6 basically on average. And when you're based on the central bank's threshold of 5% ratio, so we see that the top banks, almost 10 banks were basically below this ratio, and 5 of those banks are basically the top banks, and 8 of the banks have NPL ratios which are actually below 10%. So we're talking of the banks that actually hold 80% of the loans that have been dished into the market. So most of this risk has been unsystemic, meaning that it has been related to the individual banks per se. So I'm talking about the effect into the market. Now, this would be alarming if we would see that most of these big banks, so I'm talking of the likes of CRDB, NMB, NBC. So if these banks actually had NPL ratios which are above the threshold of 5% or even into double-digit levels, then basically that would so that effect would basically trickle down into the whole system.
So, Princely, what you're saying basically is no need for alarm. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning is wrong to make this call. So they were saying something has to give. What's the way forward? How do you overturn these non-performing loans?
Well, I'll say that the efforts has been done because obviously when you're looking at the measures that the central bank has basically taken is to make sure that all these NPLs are within the required threshold. Otherwise, there will be some penalties there. So obviously, it is up to these banks to actually work on getting into that level, and also some other measures that have also been taken. Some of the policies that have actually been set by the central bank, especially to increase the lending, right? Because so the priority here is to continue with the monetary expansionary policies, so these 3 months coming into September as well. So I would see that so far, although it has been on a slow pace, but as long as these big banks are basically setting up the tone for the rest of the market, I believe that with time it will follow suit as well. And also some few spikes did appear for some of the banks, of course, especially in the second half of the year. Now, I would basically attribute this as well to the effects of the pandemic, because now what that means is that now once everything is continuing to normalize, because the view is basically sanguine, right? Both for the businesses, so despite what is going on, so all of these efforts in terms of of the vaccine, in terms of the external markets. So our trading partners are opening up. So we do see that there's a positive view in the business environment. So once also that gets rolling as well, so we would see that, you know, some of these loans may actually, you know, so some of these are in the process of being restructured, and some of these loans may also be restructured as well. So that moving forward may reduce the average as well, because obviously from a trend wise, we have seen it come down. I mean, from an average of as I said before, 13 to now 10.6. So we do expect it to also come down further.